At Planet Mitsubishi, not only are we committed to giving you the best car buying experience and customer satisfaction, we feel strongly about supporting our local community. We have proudly partnered with WHKY this year to showcase an outstanding player in the area that shows competitiveness, sportsmanship, skill, and leadership to their team. With that, I would love to introduce this week's Player of the Week segment with Jason Savage. Congratulations from Planet Mitsubishi in Hickory.
Time for another WHKY Planet Mitsubishi Player of the Week. As always, we start first from our honorable mentions as nominated on by our area coaches from the Hickory Metro. We start first at Alexander Central. Stephen Montgomery, the running back, 21 carries, 184 yards, a reception for 8 yards. He also had a 90-yard kickoff return as well. From Hickory, Cody Young, 21 carries for 186 yards, also had 2 receptions for 16 yards. He had 2 touchdowns that were actually called back due to penalties. From Maiden, a trio of nominees, quarterback Ethan Rhodes, 9 of 15 passing for 281 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had 3 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown as well. Wide receiver Dylan Abernathy, 5 receptions, 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. And wide receiver Brennan James also with 138 yards and a pair of touchdowns, that coming on just 2 receptions. But our player of the week this week comes to us from Drawn High School. It's Kenai Banks, the wide receiver and kick returner, had 4 receptions for 83 yards and a touchdown. Had 4 kickoff returns for 125 yards and a touchdown there. Also, if that wasn't enough, a carry for 15 yards. He had 223 total yards, 2 touchdowns as well. And, Coach, you were telling me as well, 2 more that were actually called back due to a penalty as well. You know, there's a lot of amazing stats in this week around the area, but we always talk about how this goes to the player who best represents his team from this past week, and clearly that was him.
Oh, yeah. Kenai did a phenomenal job Friday night for us. Again, he had the 2 touchdowns on record, but he also had a 67-yard reception called back and then another one for about 48 yards called back. But it wasn't just those things that made me want to nominate this young man. Really, him talking to the guys at halftime was pivotal in us turning the program around or the win Friday night, because we walked in at halftime down 17 points, and I walked into the locker room and Kenai was giving the guys a pep talk, and we came out on fire from that point on. So I thought he was very deserving of this.
Kenai, let's talk a little bit about, we don't have to go into super crazy detail, but tell us a little bit about what some of that pep talk was all about.
I just let them know that not to get discouraged, and that I knew that they had it in them, and I was willing to give my life for them, and I asked them to do the same for me.
And what's impressive, obviously, was that win against Fred T. Ford was the first of conference play for you guys. Certainly a great way to get that first win of the season, number one, but also for it to come in conference play and on the road to boot.
Yes, sir. The atmosphere was electric, and honestly, it just felt amazing.
And that is why our player of the week this week is from Drawn High School. It's Kenai Banks, as I will put down the clipboard and hand him the plaque, as always, coming to us from our friends at Kelly Sports and Awards on Highway 321 in Hudson.